Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Mark Pinkerton, and I am the Quilting Dude. And I'm beginning this channel. This is my very first video on my new channel. And I'm starting this channel to kind of document my learning journey with quilting. And being what they call middle-aged, I thought it would be kind of interesting to document and share this experience with many of you who maybe you're interested in quilting and but have never taken the plunge, or maybe you are an intermediate quilter with some experience under your belt, but you'd like to just laugh at somebody. And so I'm your man. So, how I got started with quilting is I have a very good friend of mine I've known for many years. She and her husband, they're like family. So, one day she suggests to me, she's quite a seamstress, and so she says, you should look at a featherweight. And I said, I have no desire for a sewing machine. What am I going to do with a sewing machine? I had no desire, to invest in a sewing machine. And so she kind of planted the seed. And then over time, I began to kind of think about, maybe I could create a few items, for my own use. And what caused me to take the plunge is one day I go down to a department store, a well-known department store, and I bought some work clothes and different shirts and different brands of clothes. And I bought a well-known name brand shirt, and was cotton. And I took it home and laundered the shirt, of course, before I went to wear it. And as I pressed the shirt, the setting that was required to press the garment melted the thread. So it was a cotton shirt, and it was sewn with cheapy polyester thread. And so I was really angry because of the amount of money I spent on that garment. So I decided that, maybe I do need a machine. Maybe I do need to investigate what it is to make a garment. So I thought I would make myself some shirts for work, some button-up short sleeve shirts. And so I went to this same friend of mine, shout out to Terry, woo woo. So I asked her, at that time she had quite a few sewing machines, and she asked me, well, would you be interested in a 301? And I said, well, sure, you tell me what I'm interested in. And so I bought my first sewing machine that I actually purchased from her, and probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And man, what a fantastic machine. It was my first machine that started me on the road to addiction with sewing machines. I've got about 20 or 21 sewing machines right now. So we'll go through those later, and I'll show you the machines and kind of show and tell. Obviously there's one right behind me. So I kind of did decide I needed a featherweight. So there it is. That's one. That's one of them. I've got three. So anyway, I bought the machine, and previously, before that, I had a Kenmore 15 clone, a Singer clone that belonged to my grandmother, my mom's mom. And of course, when my grandma passed away, I got the machine. And it's just a straight line machine, and no frills. But it's a beautiful machine, and it's a great quality machine. And I've made a few shirts and stuff on it. But after I got that 301, I was off and running because, I'm a typical man here. I like muscle cars. I like those. I don't like noisy engines, but I like a powerful engine. And something about that 301, man, you step on the pedal and 1,600 stitches per minute. Yeah! Get it all greased up. That thing was greased and oiled and ready to roll. And of course, you could never sew a garment, that fast, I don't think, but it'd be nice to try. So anyway, yeah, she got me started, and I got my first featherweight. Well, I bought my 301 from her. And so then, I started kind of watching for machines, and bought other singers. I really like the singers. I just like the way they look, and I kind of got hooked on those. But we'll get into more of that when I'll show you my machines later. Hopefully, if you're interested, kind of comment below, give me a thumbs up, and let me know if you would like to see those. I would be happy to show you my mini sewing machines. And so I made a few garments, and then about a year and a half ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer and she passed away. And so after she passed away, she lived with me for quite a few years, and I was her caregiver in the latter years of her life. And so a lot of my time was wrapped up in, caring for her. And then after she passed away, I had a lot of free time on my hands when I would get home from work. And I felt like I kind of had a void. And I didn't really want to make any more shirts and garments at that point. And I thought that I would begin to maybe explore quilting a little bit. And started watching Eleanor Burns on YouTube. And my mom was not interested in quilting at all, but she enjoyed watching Eleanor when she was in hospice and she was diagnosed with cancer. And so when she was in hospice and in the process of dying, she would watch Eleanor because Eleanor, her disposition, she's so sweet and very happy and kind, and it really kind of lifted her spirits. And so a shout out to Eleanor Burns. I love Miss Eleanor Burns. And so I come from a creative family, and I thought I will explore quilting. I have two uncles and two or three aunts that are really they're creative people, really good creative people. And my grandmother she could do calligraphy, she could tat, she could crochet, she could knit, she could sew. Yeah, I mean, anything under the sun. She was phenomenal. Beadwork, she made jewelry, quill work, just incredible. And my auntie is just as creative. And so I kind of come by it naturally, and it's a great creative outlet to, kind of express yourself. And I'm a creative person, and I was looking for a way to kind of get that creative drive, get it manifested in some way. And so a few years back, I had a problem with extremely high blood pressure. And so I was on medication, and my doctor suggested that I knit. And of course, I had no interest in knitting whatsoever. I had no desire to knit. Men don't knit. I wasn't interested in that. I didn't think men knitted. But after he said, well, it's either yoga or knitting. And I said, well, I'm not a hippie, so I'm not doing yoga. So don't come for me, all you yoga lovers. It's just an opinion. So I started knitting, and I got to be really good at knitting, and knitted shawls and socks and garments and sweaters and scarves and hats and but then I got tired of knitting, because after you knit quite a while, you can't give that stuff away. So I got burned out on that a little. So I thought that I would begin exploring something that's a little different and that would be maybe a little more useful in some ways. And so, over this journey of the last year and a half or so that I've been quilting, I've learned a lot. I've met some great people. I've had some great experiences, and I've had a few not so great experiences. And one particular experience I found that, a lot of people, being a man coming into a quilting shop, sometimes people are very welcoming and sometimes they are not. And my local quilt shop here in Yakima is wonderful. The Viking Sewing Center is fantastic. They treat me very well. I'm very happy there. And I've learned quite a bit. Georgie Ann, the owner, has been really nice to me. And Carol, who teaches quilting. And then a friend, Jeannie, who's really a master quilter. She's a great quilter. And then, of course, my friend Terry and others who enjoy quilting. And so I hate to call names because you forget people. You don't want people mad at you. And so anyway, I went into this quilt shop, right? And Jeannie and I went into this quilt shop. We were getting ready to start a quilting group to quilt for charity. So we go into this quilt shop, and they have massive amount of fabric. And so there was a new product line out from Moda, and it's called Memoirs. And I really like the colors, the blacks and those, they're really pretty, like a golden, creamy yellow colors. It's just beautiful, beautiful prints. And so they happen to have a queen size quilt kit there in the box. And so, Jeannie was there, and one of the gals that works at the store was there. And so I was like, oh, you got to see this. This is crazy. I have the box and I opened it. And, all the fabrics are folded and they're shrink wrapped inside the box, right? So they have all the yardage for the top, for the backing, and then they have the pattern, everything but the batting and the thread. And so I kid you not, this blew me away. I was holding the stuff in my hands, and I took the fabric out, and I was like, you got to see this fabric. This is phenomenal. That woman came up to me, and she says, yeah, that's great, and took the box out of my hands, took the fabric out of my hands, put the fabric back in the box, shut the box, and put the box down on the counter. That's exactly what my response was. Excuse me? Baking powder? You don't want to sell this? I had money in my pocket to buy it, $167. And I had saved money to be able to, go down there. I was looking to buy. I mean, you go into a quilt shop, you go in there to buy, right? And I've learned that I like to buy fabric and shove it in the closet. So I can work on my hoard. I mean, stash. So that's one of the experiences I've had that could be discouraging if you let it. But I enjoy the quilting. I've found that I've had many, many more positive experiences than I've had negative. I've found the quilting community to be very kind and very open. And so I've enjoyed that quite a bit. And so, there are a lot of men who might be interested in quilting, who there's a lot to it that's really interesting. A lot of things that I'm surprised really that there aren't more men involved in it. But I think it's growing, and I think the tide is changing and shifting because there's so much to it. You can take this yardage and actually create something useful out of it. And so I think that's really exciting. And I've worked on a few quilts, smaller projects with sports teams like Seahawks, and stuff like that. I really enjoy that. Right now I'm working on a queen size. I don't have a lot of fancy camera equipment, but I will show you here what I've got going. It is, look at that. Yeah, baby. That is a queen-sized Jacob's ladder, and I did it with a basic 9 patch, and then I've just free motion quilted it on my Viking Designer SE. And so we'll get more into that. I've got a few more projects that I can show you that I've worked on. And then what I would like to do also is maybe have guests come in that can teach us how to do different techniques, how to cut 2.5-inch strips the correct way, how to sew a good solid 1/4-inch seam, a lot of different things, how to match up those seams. There's a lot of things that you can learn to really help you create a quality project. And everyone has a different learning style. And so if you like to laugh and kind of have a little bit of fun, then I think this is the place for you. We'll have a good time and dish a little bit, kind of laugh at ourselves and have a little fun. And once in a while, I'll be screaming and yelling at my dog daughters who are wallowing around on the floor down here, chewing up things as we speak. So come on back and tell your friends and click that subscribe button and click the bell at the top. So you'll be notified when I upload another video. And come and grow with me and watch how we grow. I don't have any beauty lights yet, but we'll have some soon. We'll have beauty lights to enhance my natural beauty, and then we'll have a good time laughing and creating some nice projects that could possibly become a family heirloom. You never know. All right, so come on back and join me. All right, see you next time.